ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतां श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सागणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनीति नामिनि नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषाय शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणि हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते नमो ब्राह्मणदेवाय गो ब्राह्मणहिताय च जगदिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय ते नमः तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवंदी की जय। नामचारी हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for the
Hare
Prabhupada book
Krishna.
reading session.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay,
Hare
so again
Krishna
we have
Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So we'll start the chapter 2 reading and we'll see how many are there here. Conversation again. John Lennon and Yoko. Right.
Three. Today there are three.
And then also three.
Prabhupada
Again we
bhi hai.
have Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada bhi.
Okay.
Four.
I think okay. So I'll do one thing. The first one I'll read, and then after that, two of you can start. Yoko 1 and Srila Prabhupada, okay?
Okay, Mataji.
Chapter 2 Chanting for Liberation. A conversation about the Hare Krishna mantra between Srila Prabhupada and John Lennon, Yoko 1, and George Harrison. Montreal Star, June 1969. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. John Lennon from Hare Krishna. Yoko. That's where we get it from, you know. We are not denying it. In September 1969, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement, arrived as a house guest at Tittenhurst Park, the beautiful 72-acre British estate once owned by John Lennon and later by Ringo Starr. 3 or 4 times a week, the Swami, who later became known to the world as Srila Prabhupada, gave public lectures in a tall, stately building at the northern end of the property, 100 yards from the main house in which John and Yoko lived. The building had formerly been used as a hall for chamber music recitals, but now several of Srila Prabhupada's disciples who resided along with him in a block of guest houses on the property installed a small deity altar and a podium for Srila Prabhupada. The building never really had a name, but after Srila Prabhupada's arrival, everyone called it the temple. On September 14, 1969, John, Yoko, and George Harrison, after enjoying an Indian vegetarian meal prepared by the devotees at the temple, walked over to Srila Prabhupada's quarters for the first meeting. Which mantra to chant? Okay, who will become now Yoko and who will be Srila Prabhupada?
Mataji myself Yoga Ono.
Okay,
Okay,
I will be Shri Prabhupada.
Yes,
okay.
Mataji.
Do we
Hare
have
Krishna.
one more also? Okay, who will be John Lennon?
May
Me
I
myself
Mataji.
request for
Mesh.
John Lennon?
Yeah, Snigdha Mataji. Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay,
Krishna
we
Mataji.
know
Prabhuji.
now. So
Prabhuji
Yoko
start.
one is Muttu Manikan
Yes,
Prabhu
yes
and
Mataji.
Srila Prabhupada Vinod Prabhu and
Jiva.
Snigdha Mataji is Lennon. Okay,
Okay.
John Lennon. Yes,
Which
start please.
mantra to chant? Yoga Ono. If Hare Krishna is such a strong, powerful mantra, is there any reason to chant anything else? For instance, You talked about songs of different mantras. Is there any point in chanting another song or mantra?
Srila Prabhupada, there are other mantras, but the Hare Krishna mantras especially recommended for the age. But other Vedic mantras are also chanted. As I told you, the sages would sit with musical instruments like the tambura and chant them. For instance, Narada Muni, a liberated sage who travels throughout the universe, teaching love of God, is always chanting mantras and playing his stringed instrument, the veena. So chanting out loud with musical instrument is not a new thing. It has been done since time immemorial. But the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is especially recommended for this age. This is stated in many Vedic literatures, such as the Brahmananda Purana, the Kali Satranga, Upanishad, the Agni Purana, and so forth. And apart from the statements of the Vedic literature, Lord Krishna himself, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, preached that everyone should chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and many people followed him. When a scientist discovers something, it becomes public property. People may take advantage of it. Similarly, if a mantra has potency, all people should be able to take advantage of it. Why should it remain secret? If a mantra is valuable, it is valuable for everybody. Why should it be for only a particular person?
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, John Lennon. If all mantras are just the name of God, then whether it's secret mantra or an open mantra, it's all the name of God. So it does not really make much difference, does it? Which one you sing?
Shri Prabhupada, it does make a difference. For instance, in a drug shop, they sell all types of medicines for curing different diseases. But still, you have to get a doctor's prescription in order to get a particular type of medicine. Otherwise, the druggist won't supply you. You might go to the drug shop and say, I am diseased, please give me any medicine you have. But the druggist will ask you, where is your prescription? Hare Krishna. Prescription of age of Kali. Similarly, in the age of Kali, the present age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the Hare Krishna mantra is prescribed in the Shastras or scriptures. And the great teacher Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whom we consider an incarnation of God, also prescribes it. Therefore, our principle is that everyone should follow the prescription of the great authorities and we should follow in their footsteps. That is our business. As stated in the Mahabharata Vana Parva, the Vedic mantra says that if you simply try to argue and approach the absolute truth, it is very difficult. By argument and reason, it is very difficult because our argument and reasons are limited and our senses are imperfect. There are many confusing varieties of scriptures, and every philosopher has a different opinion. And unless a philosopher defeats other philosophers, he cannot become recognized as a big philosopher. One theory replaces another, and therefore philosophical speculation will not help us arrive at an absolute truth. The absolute truth is very secret. So how can one achieve such a secret thing? You simply follow the great personalities who have already achieved success. So our Krishna consciousness philosophical method is to follow the great personalities such as Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and the great spiritual masters in disciplic succession. Take shelter of bona fide authorities and follow them. That is recommended in the Vedas. That will take you to the ultimate goal. You can't manufacture a mantra. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna says the same thing to Arjuna. Evam parampara praptam. In this way, by disciplic succession, the knowledge is coming down. So kalena mahant yogo nasta param tapa. But in the course of time, the succession was broken. Therefore, Krishna says, I am speaking it to you again. So a mantra should be received from the disciplic succession. The Vedic injunction is sampradaya vihina. Ya mantrata napta nispala matha. If your mantra does not come through the disciplic succession, it will not be effective. Mantrata nisphala. Nishphala means that it will not produce the desired results. So the mantras must be received through the proper channel or it will not act. A mantra cannot be manufactured. It must originate with the Supreme Absolute and come down through the channel of disciplic succession. It has to be received in the way and only then it will act. According to our Krishna consciousness philosophy, the mantra is coming down through our channels of disciplic succession. One through Lord Shiva, one through the goddess Lakshmi, one through Lord Brahma, and one through four Kumaras. The same thing comes down through different channels. These are called four sampradayas or disciplic succession. So one has to take his mantra from one of these four sampradayas. Then only is that mantra active. If we receive the mantras in that way, it will be effective. And if one does not receive his mantras through one of these sampradayas, channels, then it will not act, it will not give fruit. Hare Krishna.
If the mantras itself has such power, does it matter where you receive it, where you take it? Hare Krishna.
Shri Prabhupada, yes, it does matter. For instance, milk is nutritious. That is a fact. Everyone knows. But if milk is touched by the lips of the serpent, it is no longer nutritious. It becomes poisonous.
You go, well, milk is material.
Yes, it is material. But since you are trying to understand spiritual topics through your material senses, we have to give you material examples.
You go, well, no. No, I don't think you have to give me the material sense. I mean, the mantra is not material. It should be something spiritual. Therefore, I don't think anybody should be able to spoil it. I wonder if anybody can actually spoil something that isn't material.
But if you don't receive the mantra through the proper channel, it may not really be spiritual.
John Lennon, how would you know anyway? How are you able to tell? I mean, for any of your disciples or us or anybody else who goes to any spiritual master, how will we tell if he is for real or not?
You should go to just any spiritual master who is genuine guru.
John Lennon, yes, we should go to a true master. But how are we to tell one from the other?
It is not that you can go to just any spiritual master. He must be a member of a recognized sampradaya, a particular line of disciplic succession.
But what if one of these masters who's not in the line says exactly the same thing as one who is? What if he says his mantra is coming from the Vedas and he seems to speak with as much authority as you? He could probably be right. It's confusing, like having too many fruits on a plate.
If the mantra is actually coming through a bona fide disciplic succession, then it will have potency.
But the Hare Krishna mantra is the best one?
Yes.
Well, if Hare Krishna is the best one, sorry, Prabhuji.
No problem. Well, if Hare Krishna is the best one, why should we bother to say anything else other than Hare Krishna?
It is true. You don't have to bother with anything else. We say that the Hare Krishna mantra is sufficient for one's perfection, for liberation.
George Harrison, isn't it like flowers? Somebody may prefer roses and somebody may like carnations better. Isn't it really a matter for the individual devotee to decide? One person may find that Hare Krishna is more beneficial to his spiritual progress, and yet another person may find that some other mantra may be more beneficial for him. Isn't it just a matter of taste? Like choosing a flower, they are all flowers, but some people may like one better than another.
But still, there is a distinction. A fragrant rose is considered better than a flower without any scent.
In that case, I can't.
Let us try to understand this flower example.
Okay.
You may be attracted by one flower and I may be attracted by another. But among the flowers, a distinction can be made. There are many flowers that have no fragrance and many that have fragrance.
Is the flowers that has fragrance better?
Yes, therefore your attraction for a particular flower is not the solution to the question of which is actually better. In the same way, personal attraction is not the solution to choosing the best spiritual process. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, As all surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Partha. Krishna is the supreme absolute. If someone wants to enjoy a particular relationship with him, Krishna presents himself in that way. It is just like the flower example. You may want a yellow flower, and that flower may not have any fragrance. That flower is there. It is for you. That is all. But if someone wants a rose, Krishna gives him a rose. You both get the flower of your choice. But when you make a comparative study of which is better, the rose will be considered better.
I see a pattern in what you have said. For instance, you said that Hare Krishna is the most powerful word. And if that is true, then why do we bother to utter any other words? I mean, is it necessary? And why do you encourage us, saying that we have songwriters and all, to write any other song than Hare Krishna?
Chanting Hare Krishna mantra is the recommended process for cleansing our hearts. So actually one who chants Hare Krishna regularly doesn't have to do anything else. He is already in the correct position. He doesn't have to read any books.
Yes, I agree. So why do you say that it's all right to write songs, speak, and all that? It's a waste of time, isn't it?
Chanting Sri Prabhupada, no, it is not waste of time. For instance, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spend most of his time simply chanting. He was a sannyasi, a member of the renowned spiritual order of life. So he was criticized by great sannyasis who said, You have become a sannyasi and yet you do not read the Vedanta Sutra. You are simply chanting and dancing. In this way, they criticized his constant chanting of Hare Krishna. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met such stalwart scholars, he did not remain silent. He established the chanting of Hare Krishna by sound arguments based on the Vedic scriptures. Chanting for liberation. Chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient for liberation. There is no doubt about it. But if someone wants to understand the Hare Krishna mantra through philosophy, through study, through Vedanta, then we do not lack information. We have many books, but it is not that the Hare Krishna mantra is somehow insufficient, and therefore we are recommending books. The Hare Krishna mantra is sufficient. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting, he sometimes had to meet opposing scholars such as Prakashananda, Saraswati, and Sarvabhumi Bhattacharya. And then he was ready to argue with them on the basis of Vedanta. So we should not be dumb. If someone comes to argue with Vedanta philosophy, then we should be prepared. When we are preaching, many different types of people will come with questions. We should be able to answer them. Otherwise, the Hare Krishna mantra is sufficient. It does not require any education, any reading, or any else. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, you get the highest perfection. That is a fact. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, Mataji. What should we do? We have another 10 minutes. How much is there? It's big, quite big. Should you do some more reading?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, any other three people we can read now
Yes.
who have not read so far.
Correct.
Yes, Sharmila Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I think this is not a
Mataji,
conversation.
Okay, then you start. Okay, it's not
Okay.
a conversation. 1 second.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, okay.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Chapter 3. Srila Prabhupada brings the Hare Krishna mantra to the West. When His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada first arrived in America, in the midst of the cultural turmoil of the 60s, he quickly captured the hearts and minds of the New York hippies and the San Francisco flower children with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. In 1969, he journeyed to London, and by 1971, Hare Krishna had been recorded on hit records by former Beatles John Lennon and George Harrison. By then, the mantra had been heard by hundreds of millions of people, and the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, formed in New York in 1966, had spread to 6 continents. How could an elderly Indian Swami in a foreign land, with no money, no support, no friends, and no followers, achieve such phenomenal success? The story that follows includes eyewitness accounts and excerpts from Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita, the authorized biography of his extraordinary saint, written by one of his intimate disciples, Satswarupa Dasa Goswami. The arduous sea voyage from Calcutta to Boston was finally over. The lone passenger aboard the cargo ship, Jaladuta, a 69-year-old Indian holy man, had been given free passage by the owner of the Scindia steamship company. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada arrived at Commonwealth Pier on September 17, 1965. For thousands of years, Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna, had been known only in India. But now, on the order of a spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada had come to awaken the natural dormant Krishna consciousness of the American people. On his arrival day on board the Jaladota, he wrote in his diary the following words: absorbed in material life, they, Americans, think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva Krishna. But I know that your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? Oh Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. I am seeking your benediction. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. In 1922, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura, had requested him to spread the teachings of Lord Krishna, including the Hare Krishna mantra, to the West. And now, after a lifetime in preparation, Srila Prabhupada was ready to begin. After landing in America with the Indian rupee equivalent of $8, he spent his first 7 months in the United States with the family in Butler, Pennsylvania, with an Indian yoga teacher in Manhattan, and later with the help of friends in a bare rented office in the same part of the city. By the summer of 1966, he had found a larger location more suited to propagating the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the ancient science of Krishna consciousness. That summer, Prabhupada had met a young man named Harvey Cohen, who offered him an old artist in residence loft in Lower Manhattan's Bowery. Here, a small group of young bohemian types would join Srila Prabhupada every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening for chanting Hare Krishna and classes on the Bhagavad Gita. Although not yet incorporated or known by its present name, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness had been born. Few of Srila Prabhupada's guests, whose interest included music, drugs, macrobiotics, pacifism, and spiritual meditation, knew very much about what they were chanting or exactly why they were chanting it. They just enjoyed it and liked being in the presence of the man they affectionately called Swamiji. These musicians, artists, poets, and intellectuals, most of whom had chosen to live outside of mainstream society, felt that by chanting Hare Krishna, they were taking part in something mystical and unique. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone want to volunteer for reading? Another 5 minutes we have.
I'll read Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Sureshwari Mataji.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada led the solo chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The melody was always the same, a simple 4-note phrase, the first 4 notes of the major scale. Prabhupada led the Kirtana with small 3-inch diameter hand cymbals he had brought with him from India. He would ring them in a 1-2-3, 1-2-3 fashion. Some of his followers clapped along with him, and some joined in with small finger cymbals of their own. Others sat in yoga postures, hands outstretched, chanting and meditating on this novel transcendental vibration. Guests would sometimes bring other instruments, including guitars, tamburas, flutes, tambourines, and a wide variety of drums. After a few months, some of Srila Prabhupada's followers secured for him a better place to live and spread the chanting of the holy name. The new Second Avenue location on the hippie filled Lower East Side included in an apartment for Srila Prabhupada, one floor up and a ground floor storefront, which he would use as a temple. Within a few weeks, the small 60 by 25-foot storefront was packed with young people 3 nights a week. Gradually, the storefront took on the appearance of a temple as visitors began to bring tapestries and paintings for the walls, carpets for the floors, and amplification equipment for Srila Prabhupada's lectures and kirtanas. Prabhupada's kirtanas were lively and captivating, with numerous guests spontaneously rising to their feet, clapping and dancing. Srila Prabhupada always conducting the kirtana group chanting in call and response fashion and playing a small African bongo-like drum would accelerate the chant faster and faster until after about half an hour it would reach a climax and suddenly end. Chanting along with Srila Prabhupada in the small room on 2nd Avenue, guests found themselves transported into another dimension, a spiritual dimension in which the anxieties and pressures of everyday life in New York City simply did not exist. Many soon caught on that chanting Hare Krishna was an intense and effective form of meditation, a direct means of communion with something greater than themselves, no matter what their conception of the Absolute. Srila Prabhupada initiated his first disciples in September of 66, at which time about a dozen students vowed to chant a minimum of 16 rounds a day on their beats. This meant reciting the 16-word mantra 1728 times a day, a meditation that would take them between 1.5 to 2 hours to complete. Prabhupada's flock soon began to print and distribute invitations and leaflets such as this one. Practice the transcendental sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This chanting will cleanse the dust from the mirror of the mind. Another invited America's youth to stay high forever, no more coming down. Practice Krishna consciousness. Expand your consciousness by practicing the asterisk transcendental sound vibration asterisk. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the morning, Srila Prabhupada would lead the devotees in one round of japa, chanting on beats. After chanting with Prabhupada, the devotees would chant their remaining 16 rounds on their own. The celebrated American poet Allen Ginsberg, accompanying the kirtana on his harmonium, had by now become a regular at the evening chanting sessions at the temple and in nearby Tompkins Square Park. In a 1980 interview published in Srila Prabhupada's biography, he recalled his experiences. Allen, I liked immediately the idea that Swami Bhaktivedanta had chosen the Lower East Side of New York for his practice. I was astounded that he would come with the chanting because it seemed like a reinforcement from India. I had been running around singing Hare Krishna but had never understood exactly why or what it meant. I thought it was a great now that he was here to expound on the Hare Krishna mantra that would sort of justify my singing. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't have any theological background to satisfy further inquiry. And here was someone who did. So I thought that was absolutely great. If anyone wanted to know the technical intricacies and the ultimate history, I could send them to him. He had a personal, selfless sweetness like total devotion, and that was what always conquered me, a kind of personal charm coming from dedication. I always like to be with him. The chanting of Hare Krishna seemed to spread in an almost magical way, and as time went on, the number of people attracted to it increased exponentially. Even in this unlikely New York setting, the mantra seemed to have a life of its own. Whether it was the melody, the heat, the beat, the sound of the words, the look of the devotees, or Prabhupada's humility or serenity, nearly everyone who then came in touch with the chanting of Hare Krishna responded favorably. In December 1966, Srila Prabhupada would explain on his first record album, the LP, that introduced two of the Beatles, John Lennon and George Harrison, to Hare Krishna, that the chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is not a material sound vibration, but comes directly from the spiritual world. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. So we'll stop today. We are at 7 already.
Yes, Mataji.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय, नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। Thank you for
Thank you,
joining
Mataji.
everyone.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.